About to do that, to the round table we go. Joining us tonight, Drew Sharp, Detroit Free Press, and Rome is Burning on ESPN. Also, Sean Baligean, one of our favorite radio free agents, also from M Live and the Plymouth Whalers. Sean, you said this would be a heck of a series. The Ducks would give them trouble. As of today, certainly a series. Had the Ducks gone down 2-0, I think they'd be in serious trouble, but they got what they needed.
Yeah, get used to it. I think, the way the first two games played out, guys, I think that's what we're going to see this whole series. I think we're going to see one-goal games. I think we're going to see a lot of tough hockey. And there's such a fine line between tough hockey and stupid hockey. 2 years ago, the Anaheim Ducks played tough hockey, won a Stanley Cup. Last year, in a word, they were stupid. They took a lot of penalties against the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars made them pay. They're not taking as many penalties. They're still, running that line, if you will, on stupid sometimes because the Red Wings can make you pay. But this is going to be a tough series, and people better buckle in, Drew.
Better get used to live overtime games because, again...
Those are great when they start at 10:30.
Yeah, they're great. They're great when you're at home watching, not when you're covering it on deadline. So it's great from that standpoint. But these are two evenly matched teams. Forget about the 8th seed against the number 2 seed. This is Anaheim and the Wings are the last two Stanley Cup champions. That didn't happen by accident. They know how to respond in tight games like this.
Here's one of the things that I think is unfortunate, too, is that when one team loses, people want to look for somebody to point the finger at. Now, right now, obviously, Datsuk not scoring. Hosa's got to take better advantage of his chances. But this may be a series where somebody loses and nobody deserves blame because these may be the two best teams right now.
Well, and I'm glad that you said that because, Drew, one of the annual rituals this time of year is to blame the goaltender. And if anybody blames Chris Osgood, they need their head examined because I'll tell you what, with as badly as the Red Wings played in that second period, that game probably should have been 4 or 5-2. Chris Osgood kept them in that game. But I'll agree with the 1 point in regards to the Wings top line. Look, your best have to be your best. Nick Lidstrom, he was phenomenal in Game 1. But you look at Anaheim, their top line, by far the best. Yeah. By far. Ryan Getzlaf, again, I think he's the most underrated player in the league. Henrik Zetterberg, Pavel Datsyuk, and Marian Hossa have to answer the bell. They need more out of that line.
The Wings are supposed to be the team with all this offensive depth. Marchand scores the winning goal. Anaheim got the contributions from guys you wouldn't consider.
And the Wings came close a couple times. I kept thinking Filppula was going to put one in. I thought maybe Helm had a couple of chances. But in the end, it's the guy that delivers, and today it was the Ducks. But as you guys say, it looks like we're in for a lot more of this. As you look at this series going to Anaheim, give me something that each team has to look out for as we move forward.
I think if you're Detroit, it's getting back to what we talked about, that switch. And we've talked about that a few times. You can't afford to have those lapses. The entire second period was a lapse. And when the Red Wings played their game, I still contend they're the toughest team in the league. You have to bring 60 minutes to the Anaheim Ducks. And if you're Anaheim, you've got to limit the shots. You have to. Hiller's been phenomenal, but how often are you going to have an opportunity like that? He stole one today.
But the thing where you have to, if you're a Wings fan, you have to be concerned from Anaheim from this standpoint. This was their 3rd straight overtime victory at Joe Louis Arena. This team is not intimidated. I think we're going to be back here next Sunday, 2-2, and whoever wins that game here next Sunday, they got the series.
Yeah, this has the makings of a great, great series. We'll talk more about it as it goes on. All right, let's talk about those Tigers. Sean, we were just sitting here, and you said one thing. You said Justin Verlander really needed those starts.
Both against the Yankees and today. And you know what I like today? The fist pump. He looked like that young, exuberant guy that we all remember a few years ago, really going out there and battling. And we've talked about it ad nauseum. All you have to do is hang around in this division. The division's terrible, and here the Tigers got off to this start where they were in first or a half game or a game behind, and you're thinking to yourself, boy, if Verlander can even start contributing, or God forbid Jeremy Bonderman come back and do anything, or even Dontrell Willis, who had a little good news this week. Anything can happen. Anything can help this team, and you get 2 starts out of Justin Verlander like that, and you feel better.
Like an ace.
Yes.
2 consecutive starts, something we haven't seen in 2 years. And he's the number 1 reason why I think this team struggled a year ago. Your big stars have to step up. And, when he was, 11-17 last season?
Yep.
You flip that around this year, and then everyone else draws confidence from that.
And it's interesting, too, the offense starts to come around a little bit. You see, Brandon Inge, give the guy credit. I know he's got his critics out there, but the guy's hitting the baseball. Until somebody proves otherwise, this guy's hitting the ball. Now, history says he'll cool off. And, look, I don't think the guy's going to hit 72 home runs, but he's hitting the
But again, you go back to that 06 season, and one of the things with that lineup, the bottom third of that lineup produced Monroe and Inge. And you've seen that again early this year.
And it's a great point because when you looked at that lineup early this season, you thought if Brandon Inge hit the way he hit last year, they were going to get nothing out of the bottom of that lineup. After number 6, it was just going to be a desert.
Well, and it's not only Babe Inge, but I mean, look at Curtis Granderson as well. I mean, Granderson's on pace for 60 home runs or whatever the heck it is. I mean, obviously it's early, but it's great to see the power at the top and the bottom.
They need to get him out of the leadoff spot. He's in 240 right now. I mean, with the power, with the increasing power that he's showing, he should be in an RBI position, batting 5th in that lineup. They need a leadoff. If Josh Anderson is the real deal, with some speed in the top of that lineup, do a little flip and put Granderson in the 5th spot.
Do you guys think at any point this season that pressure is at all on Dave Dombrowski to do something with Jim Leyland? I mean, Jim Leyland's sitting here in the last year of a contract. Does he have to take this thing all the way to the end to earn himself an extension?
If they continue to hang around, I hope they would take care of it. I mean, that would be my guess. And again, I hate to keep going back to this. I mean, the fact that they are hanging around in the position that they're in, considering that there are some integral parts of this team doing. I mean, look at Carlos Guillen. I mean, today they were saying, hey, Carlos is hitting the ball well. Well, it doesn't matter when you're hitting the ball straight to guys every time and stuff. So, yeah, I think, so in answer to your question, I think if they continue to hang around, take care of it. Don't let that linger, because all that does is become a distraction.
Well, I think they probably, behind closed doors, have probably come to that conclusion that he's coming back. But again, if you know that, you don't have to announce it publicly, because it's not going to become an issue. If this team keeps playing 500 ball, it's no longer an issue. He'll be back.
Based on the fact there wasn't an extension up until this point, I'm guessing behind closed doors there's been some very interesting conversations at one time or another. Let's get to the NFL. Lions